Hey guys, hope you're having a good league start. This is my first video this league, so I got a couple of things to talk about. The build is not done, it's not even a build just yet, but I won't be streaming tomorrow, so I don't want to delay this too much. So I'm gonna talk about my build mainly, and I'm gonna show the gameplay in a moment. Just keep in mind that I just started mapping. I even started with like a 4-link mapping, so what you're gonna see is not really it's not really a proper build just yet. But I pretty much went into the league with no real plan. I just decided, okay, I'm just gonna go elementalist. Maybe I'll do Spark of Unpredictability, combine it with the new Tornado, because both scale with the duration. And I had a couple like backup plans. You can actually see it on the screen, my backup plans. That's only a couple of those backup plans that I could fit on the screen. The build went through a couple iterations even before hitting maps, and maybe first about the league mechanics. The league mechanics are kind of deadly, but also I was very pessimistic at the start of the league, like micromanaging every time you enter a map, micromanaging, checking every monster, what it has, what you could combine it with, like all those corpses. I was very pessimistic, but I'm actually becoming more and more interested in that. And it's probably not because I found a modifier that gave monsters 1% chance to drop an additional divine, although I only got 2 divines from that. No, it's probably not because of that. But in general, it does seem like you could combine some cool things. I guess the price to pay is of obviously some deadly modifiers, but also the micromanaging, the annoyance of micromanaging. But that can also be fun, almost like a mini game. But when you do that mini game before every single map, it becomes kind of annoying. The way I'm pretty much playing is that if I don't see the gold text, I just ignore and just run as it is. Unless I know that the map is very deadly, then I may actually read something. Otherwise I just run as it is. If I see a golden text, then I take a look at it and see what it is. There are some modifiers that seem crazy, like 1200% increased quantity. But that's only from the final monster in the pack, so it's not that great. But I feel like that could actually be combined into something, something broken. And I suspect over time people are gonna discover more crazy things. Now, the crafting thing does seem interesting, and it's actually simpler than I thought. Actually, maybe it could also be complicated. It kind of depends. I'm still not too familiar with it. I tried to craft a couple things. It just was poop, pretty much poop. I feel like you really need to prepare proper modifiers, or else you're just gonna get nonsense. It's very strong, very strong. It can be really very strong if you combine the right modifiers. Like if you want movement speed on boots, if you just get increased chance of getting speed modifiers, that and that alone, like even if you get 1000%, that is meaningless. You can get like movement speed but low tier. So you also need to combine with the things that increase the tier. But that's not very obvious how exactly it works. Like you get plus 50 to tier rating or something like that. And what is that plus 50? Does it remove the lowest 1 tier, 2 tiers, 3 tiers? How many tiers? It's kind of unknown. I think it has like a hidden variable because some modifiers don't have as many tiers, so it must have some kind of consistency. But yeah, crafting I think is gonna be very strong once people figure it out. And the league mechanic can also be very rewarding. And so far my luck has been pretty decent. I found 4 nameless here before I entered maps and 0 after I entered maps. So I feel like it's like it has tendency to spawn more frequently before maps. And by the way, Nameless Seal is also a golden text, so if you don't see golden text and you want to find Nameless Seal, you can just skip it. I found 4 of them. Well, I actually found modifiers 4 times, but I only found 3 of them, because the first one was, I think, bugged and it did not show up at all. But I did find 2 decent items that I sold for 40 plus here, so that was already kind of my initial good league start experience. And then I found the modifier that gave monster a chance to get to drop a divine orb. Sadly, that was very low tier map, very non-juiced up map, and I only got 2 divines. Then I found Aegis Aurora, sold for 1.5 divines. So my league start is going, I guess, pretty okay. Now, the build that I'm doing right now is static ball lighting. So static ball lighting was very meta with totems, and I stayed away from it because it was meta, so why would I play meta things? But now, that it doesn't work with totems anymore, I thought, okay, maybe I'll try it. And I only tried it for the league start because I just got that gem and I thought, okay, maybe I'll just try it. And right from the beginning, it was so good for leveling. You just drop it from very far away, right onto enemies. It has good AoE, especially if you get some AoE. It has good damage, good single target. The only problem is if you clear too quickly, you run into cooldown problems. Then you definitely need quality on it, and you may even want CDR on belt and boots. Right now I don't have any of those. Right now it's just the base bollighting of static, and right now it's only on a 5 link. I went with Elementalist because I had a couple build ideas involving golems, so golems were my kind of one of the backup plans, and that's why Elementalist. Otherwise I would probably have went with the Inquisitor. But Elementalist has its own pros. You get more AoE, and that's pretty much it. So far it's kind of working well, and I was really surprised that bollighting is doing so much damage until you meet some really tough rare enemies that just don't care about your damage. If enemies are fast and I cannot deal with them quickly or make them stay in one spot, then I need to try to freeze them. So I did try to go with the Call of the Brotherhood and converting 40% of my lighting into cold, since I'm going with crit. It was pretty high chance to freeze enemies and to shock enemies, but the problem with ball lighting is that when you cast it, all the hits that it will make over 2 seconds, it only lasts for 2 seconds. All of those hits will be either critical or non-critical. It doesn't roll critical strike per hit, it rolls per cast. So I'm trying to also build high enough crit chance that it would be consistent and it would pretty much be critting all the time, but it's pretty difficult and I'm not sure how to go about this. I thought about going with the Vans because initially I was going with Spark and I wanted more projectile speed, but then I dropped Spark and this bollighting doesn't have projectile tag and doesn't need projectile speed because it's stationary, so I'm going with Staves because that way I have easier access to more critical chance nodes, and Staves also have block. But also thinking about Dawnbreaker, I bought Dawnbreaker shield for like I believe 2 years or something like less than 5 years. Very surprised that it's so cheap, and I was thinking of stacking some armor and getting physical mitigation as Elementalist. I'm also getting like a shield to absorb elemental damage from Bastion of Elements, which is right now giving me 2100 like damage that I can absorb. But if I go with the shield, I don't know if I could build enough crit chance. Like 50 crit chance I think it would not be enough. I would want like 70, maybe even 80% crit chance. And things like Void Battery is kind of expensive at the start of the league. I believe the last time I checked it was like 5 divines. And I don't have a good way of generating power charges because bollighting, like I said, either all hits crit or none of them crit. So using like power charge on crit is not, I think, not very good idea. For clear speed you can just use like a ring modifier, chance to get power charge on kill. I feel like that's enough. I am also now running Stormbrand to generate power charges, and I did just recently switch to Lightning Warp setup for moving faster, so I'm still leveling it. And it doesn't have quality, so it's still a bit clunky. And now I actually also switched to Expeditions End. So this way, when I switch to Expeditions End, I don't need Call of the Brotherhood ring to convert the damage into cold. All my hits can freeze, and this way I also have stronger shocks and stronger freezes. So I'm thinking, since bollighting is stationary, I can just freeze enemies. They would like stay still and be damaged by that bollighting. So they wouldn't really move towards me. But the tougher targets are still gonna be moving towards me, like chasing me or running away. If monsters are too spread out and you need to drop bollighting in multiple spots, the cooldown becomes a kind of a problem. So I can't really clear any faster because I just don't generate bollightings fast enough. So I will definitely have to get quality on bollighting and maybe even get CDR on a belt. I'm not sure if that's really gonna help. I do have quite a bit of AoE because Elementalist gets what 60% AoE? Yeah, 60% AoE. And the bollighting of static doesn't really scale with cast speed, so the cast speed is only for smoothness, but you do need some cast speed. So right now the build, like I said, is not really a build just yet. I'm still using Agnorot's best staff, which is pretty much just flat lighting damage compared to other Agnorot's staves. There's a staff called something about the dusk, which would give more overall damage than this staff, but in the end I'm still not sure. Maybe it would be better to go with a rare stave. If you got some ideas how to get a lot of crit chance without like sacrificing our defense, I haven't even thought about the defense actually. I just pretty much building block and some armor with determination, and that's pretty much it right now. Defense are always the trickiest part for me at the start of the league, especially on a spellcaster. It's usually get block. If not block, then suppression evasion, right? Other than that, I don't really know what to do about the defenses, and I'm not sure how to increase my crit chance. I would rather go with a shield. That way I could use shield charge maybe. I actually don't like using shield charge, but lightning warp does require quite a bit of investment into it. Like it needs quality, it needs less duration, faster casting, stuff like that for it to feel great. I'm not sure about this build just yet, but so far it's working quite okay. The damage is okay, even on a falling it felt kind of okay, but again it's only like non-juiced up white and just beginning yellow tier maps right now. I'm still lacking so many things, like pretty much all of my items still need to be replaced, pretty much all of them. I still haven't even done Uber Lab, and that's my passive skill tree. It looks kind of weird, and I still need a couple more points to refund, like I still need to refund that. I was initially going here, picking up the duration for Spark, but don't need that. Now this looks kind of weird. I'm still getting more power charges. I haven't gotten any jewels yet. These nodes actually give quite a lot of crit chance, like 100% and 60. This gives 100% against shocked enemies, and this one extra 60% against lightning exposed enemies, which currently I only apply with the Hydrosphere. Later on I want to get lightning exposure on gloves, but also need leech. Maybe I'll get it on cluster jewel, and that way I wouldn't need a Hydrosphere. Previously I needed a Hydrosphere because I wanted to apply cold and lightning exposure because I was using Call of the Brotherhood, but now I'm not. So there are still many things I need to figure out, and like I said, maybe some people got some better ideas how to get a lot of crit chance. I don't want to lose freeze, I don't want to lose like shocks, so I cannot use like alternative ailments. But I need really high crit chance, otherwise it's not gonna feel very consistent. Basically I need to be critting all the time with ball lighting. When I cast it, like I said, all hits either crit or we all do not crit. When we don't crit, it's very noticeable and it feels really bad, and when we crit, it just shreds bosses really quickly. So I want that shreddingness, shredding to happen more frequently, basically all the time. I think for power charge generation, Stormbrand will be fine, but just having power charges will not be enough. This is like just my passive skill tree plan with just basic items. Actually don't need this anymore. That's the stuff that I was talking about. This would actually give more damage than Agnarots, but maybe I should go with the rare one, the Eclipse staff, which would give more crit chance. I'm not sure, it's not adding all that much. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do about the crit chance and what kind of defense I could use. Like this is not gonna be farming high red tier maps. I'm only gonna be reaching like red tier maps, starting it, and like 2 days after that I'm gonna be done with the build and move on to my next build, which hopefully I'll have enough currency to do something more interesting than this. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, I won't be streaming tomorrow, and I will be a bit lagging behind my kind of typical schedule. Hopefully in the next video I can show you like a proper build with lighting of static. Or maybe I'm gonna switch to something else. I had so many ideas how in what build I can switch into, like even dancing dervish with elementalist could work, golems with more of mischief could work really well. I actually tried to test how the auto golems, the flame golem of meteors, the one that when you summon the golem drops on the ground, explodes, does damage. How would that target with the elementalist auto resummoning golems? Actually, I was thinking of using like minion stability and making golems like die quickly, so that they would just get resummoned. But it doesn't target enemies; it just targets like random location around you, and that's it. So I dropped that idea, but more mischief would still work. You could still do a lot of damage, and the clear speed may not be that insanely great, but it should like do really good damage. I was even thinking Ignite Flamewood as one idea. Held of Thunder, obviously, which does require a bit of investment at the start. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.